Hi, I'm Connor Ross, and I'm a student at Central Carolina Technical College. So what we're going to be discussing today is sleep in relation to your health and how big of a risk it can truly impose on your health if you don't meet the bare minimum requirements of sleep you need at night. Now, if you ever were like me and believe that you can go days and even sometimes weeks without the appropriate amount of sleep, you're wrong. Sleep is actually very important to how we think and how we go about our everyday lives, and it comes with big risk if you don't stick with the bare minimum amount of sleep, at least what you should be getting every night. So before we start getting into the statistics and how truly big of a risk you're taking if you don't have a normal and a healthy sleep pattern, we need to start off with a good understanding of what is sleep. Now, before we get into that, let's just start off by saying that getting enough sleep, and let's make this clear, getting enough sleep is necessary in order to maintain a safe and healthy lifestyle. So, what information do we need to know? Well, the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what exactly is sleep? Now, I'm going to start off by saying this process that we know as sleep is essential to our physical and mental health. Now, there are 4 general stages of sleep that we go into every time we try to sleep. Now, stage 1 consists of irregular waves. Now, there are alpha and there are delta waves, and these waves can be measured with an instrument called an EEG. Now, the first stage consists of irregular waves with occasional alpha waves. Now, alpha waves are the waves that are consistent with awareness and being awake and consciousness. Now, the next stage we go into is stage 2, and that stage 2 consists of sleep spindles, which is alternating states of relaxation. So we can be relaxed and then get deeper into relaxation. We kind of go back and forth until we reach stage 3, which consists of a slow wave sleep. This is usually you get around 20% of waves in your brain measured with an EEG are delta waves. Then you move into stage 4 sleep. Now, stage 4 sleep consists of at least 50% of waves are delta waves. Now we have an understanding of the cycle and everything like that, and understand that we go through this cycle at least several times a night. Every time we sleep, we go through stage 1 through 4, and this keeps going and going and going until we wake up. Now, then we have REM sleep. Now, REM sleep is rapid eye movement, and it consists of rapid eye movement sleep, and it consists of course, rapid eye movements, paralysis, fast and irregular heartbeat, respiration rate, brain waves, and it can also give you vivid dreams. Now, specific sleep disorders and how they can affect us. So, basically, if you have different sleep disorders, you are more susceptible to risk factors, not just physical but mental health risk factors, and it increases your risk of having sleep problems. But there are 2 general types of sleep disorders. So the first we have parasomnias. Now, parasomnias are sleep disturbances in which behaviors and psychological states that usually take place in the waking state occurs in the sleep state. So one of the most common known examples of these is, in fact, sleepwalking. So, yes, and then we have dysomnias. The second type of sleep disorders, we have dysomnias. And that is when the timing, quality, and quantity of sleep is impaired in any type of way. And a good example of that, a real good example of that is actually sleep apnea. Now, now we can get into the statistics and how sleep can affect us and what risk it shows. Now, according to the Harvard Medical School, and I quote, a National Sleep Foundation survey has revealed that 60% of adult drivers, about 168 million people, say that they have driven a vehicle while feeling drowsy in the past year, and that more than 1/3, or 103 million people, have actually fallen asleep at the wheel. Now, this is a very scary statistic. Now, let's compare that to the statistic of distracted drivers. So, examples of these are talkers while driving, texters while driving. And in 2012, a study shown that, according to the Centers for Disease Control, in 2012, 3,328 people were killed in crashes involving a distracted driver. So a driver was either texting, talking, doing something, not paying attention to the wheel, compared to 3,360 in 2011. So we do see a little bit of a decline. So notice that the amount of drowsy drivers stays constant, even goes up, but the amount of texting and distracted drivers went down in 2011 from 2012, whereas drowsy drivers went up or stayed relatively the same. Now, an additional 421,000 people were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving a distracted driver in 2012, a 9% increase from the 387,000 people injured in 2011. Now, this is an interesting statistic. Another statistic from the Harvard Medical School shows that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that at least 100,000 police-reported crashes are a direct result of driver fatigue each year. Now, this basically means drowsiness. The driver didn't have enough sleep. They suffer from some type of sleep disorder that keeps them from doing that. We don't know. We just know that it happens. A driver that was drowsy got behind the wheel, drove, and caused an accident. But they considered this a conservative estimate. A more recent data suggests the number is really, really much higher, and I believe that too. Also, another statistic from Harvard. This came from the Harvard website, Harvard Medical School. The Institute of Medicine estimates, based on a recent high quality of naturalistic and epidemiologic studies, that drowsy driving is responsible for fully 20% of all vehicle crashes in the U.S., just in the U.S. alone. That would mean that drowsy driving approximately causes 1 million crashes, and that's 500,000 injuries and 8,000 deaths each year in the U.S. Now, let's compare that to the distracted driving statistic. In 2012, we're going to refer back to the one we used for distracted driving just a second ago. In 2012, 328 people. Basically, it's a lot. Drowsy driving is a lot. The statistics are a lot higher, whereas distracted driving, the statistics are actually a bit lower. Now, what is being done? Let's focus on that. What is being done about the epidemic of drowsy driving in the U.S. compared to what is being done about distracted driving in the U.S.? Now, let's start off with distracted driving in the U.S. Many states have enacted laws concerning distracted driving. So many states either make you pay a fine for texting and driving. This would be a good example of this. So any cell phone use, most states have a law in place that prevent you from doing that, and if you do, you get fined for it or some type of legal action takes place. Now, actually, another interesting statistic, now this is coming from the Centers for Disease Control. On September 30th, 2009, President Obama issued an executive order prohibiting federal employees from texting while driving on government business with government property. On September 17, 2010, the Federal Railroad Administration banned cell phone use completely on employees on the job. In 2011, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and Pipeline Hazard Material Safety Administration banned all handheld electronic devices by commercial drivers carrying hazardous material. Now, again, this is coming from the Centers for Disease Control. Now, like I said, the distracted driving, with the more awareness that was built up, because as these events was taking place, we consider distracted driving more of an epidemic than drowsy driving. In fact, drowsy driving hasn't really been notarized yet. It hasn't really been noted as a problem. However, with more awareness, this distracted driving has been decreasing each year since these laws have been enacted. Now, what is being done about drowsy driving? Nothing. There is no law in place in regard to keeping a driver off the road at all if they haven't got enough sleep. Now, basically, the last thing we're going to talk about is the specific risk factors involved and linked to sleep deprivation. I'm just going to name a few of these off. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease and hypertension, mood disorders, and immune function and alcohol risk. Your risk of all these go up. You're more likely to get these. So now that we've talked about this today, I hope that you get a sense of how truly important sleep is to your health, not just physically but mentally, and know that the risk that you take when you don't get enough sleep every night. Now, I'm not saying that if you can just skip, 1 hour or so. No, use some common sense. Sleep is very, very important, and you need a certain amount each night. Your body needs it. It's important to our cognitive function, our safety, and our well-being, not just physically, but mentally as well. Now, I hope you have gotten a lot from this essay. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you next time.